common question is asked, which do you prefer, the boy child or the girl child? Well, without giving too much away, today's program seeks to look beyond preference and focus on a conversation that is rarely given attention on this edition of Issues. We turn the spotlight on the importance of the boy child, the challenges they face, the gaps in support, and why his well being matters to families and society at large. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Our guest this week on Issues is Anna Husseini. She is a Nigerian development advocate and the founder as well as chief executive director of Erguti Foundation, a non-governmental organization focused on empowering children, youth, and women. The foundation places special emphasis on mentoring and uplifting the boy child through education, life skills development, and community engagement. Do stay with us. We'll be right back and you'll be meeting our guest soon. Thank you for staying tuned to the program. And right away, I have my guest in the studio. Joining us live on the program is Anna Husseini, the founder of Yarugute Foundation. You're welcome to Issues. Let's begin by understanding why the choice of the focus area of the boy child.
Good day, viewers. First of all, I'm a boy mom. I have two boys.
Okay.
And over time, you'll agree with me that everyone focuses on the girl child. And that neglect has created gaps in what we see and what we deal with in our everyday lives. So I can stay the whole day giving you examples of where the neglect of the boy child has affected everybody and everyone and maybe the nation entirely. If I'm going to take the focus on security, for example, the majority of people involved in banditry, for example, and kidnapping, one chance, all of those vices that are in that sector, you'll agree with me that majority of them, if not all, are of the male gender. And you see, when we keep ignoring today's boys, we'll fail tomorrow's men, because these guys that are involved in these vices were once upon a time boys. But then there were gaps while bringing them up, which have resulted to them, falling along the way and joining all of this. So you hardly will find girls, doing this or being part of these vices because they've been taught certain skills that are missing in the boys. So, for example, without us labeling it, without us knowing it, as women in the house, when we groom the boys, it's a bit different from how we see the girls. So we groom the girls with more empathy, we teach them how to talk, which is communication. We teach them emotional intelligence, how to take care of people, and all of that. But the boys are often left alone to play along the streets, and they will start to pick up some behavioral traits from whoever they mingle with. So if a boy is being sent to buy cigarettes, for example, he'll one day want to experiment with that. But most times the girls are kind of domesticated. They are at home learning to cook, learning to clean, learning to care. And so that gap in the boys, have given that leeway for devices to come in. That's on the part of security. Now, if you look again on another aspect, you will agree with me again that a lot of relationships are breaking up, even before marriage. But again, a lot of marriages are breaking up. Why? Because there's no synergy. Now the women know a lot because there has been a lot of concentration on them over the years. They are over, stimulated, over self-aware, and they probably have some things to bring to the table. But the man doesn't have that corresponding knowledge. But I think a lot of men might not agree with what I'm saying right away, but just let down your ego and think things through and look at it critically. Most women will want to suggest certain things in the home for the advancement of the family, for the advancement of the marriage. But some egoistic tendencies will just pop up. I'd be like, oh, she's trying to climb my head. She's trying to show me she knows more than I do. And then when you have those kind of friends around you that are, don't let her climb your head. Oh, don't let her take charge of your home. Just listen to this woman. She's probably bringing something of value. So that lack of synergy cause a lot of disaffection that can ultimately lead to breakups, and then the society will suffer it because we have a lot of broken marriages and children are involved. So when the parents are not together, well, there are single parents that have done wonderfully well raising their kids, but majority of broken homes affect the children, and it continues, the cycle continues, because there's every tendency that a child that was in a broken home, seeing all the violence and all, that's exactly what the child is going to pick. So the neglect of the boy child has affected so many sectors.
Now, from your foundation, what have you started? Now, you've identified a very big problem that has in one way or the other, affects or is affecting society negatively. Now, how and what have you started?
So this is our third year
Okay.
on the boy child project. So we call it Empower the Boy Child Project. And what we focus on, because we are still dealing with boys in school, we identify, the underserved communities where we want to work at, and then we go again to identify vulnerable boys, boys that need this intervention. Or may I even say, like every boy needs the intervention, but because we can't take on everybody at the same time, we identify the boys who are going to work with, and we work with them for 6 months, teaching them soft skills, life skills, mentoring them. We get mentors to fill in that gap, and then we embark on community engagement or community service with them, so that whatever they teach, which one of the lessons is empathy or giving back, communication. When we go out there, they can practicalize whatever they have learned. So in the 6 months that we stay with them, we teach them about 22 lessons. I'll just mention a few. We teach them, I always add, as mundane as it sounds, we teach them communication. Because again, these days you see young people generally, but then particularly boys, that don't know how to communicate, especially with older people. You just talk, you just let anything that comes to mind come out. No respect, no discipline, and all. So all of these that I've mentioned are part of the lessons that we teach them: communication, discipline, empathy, emotional intelligence, hygiene, civic responsibility, because as you grow, you should understand what is due to you and what you need to give to the country and your society. So we teach about 22 lessons over the space of the 6 months. And while we're on it, we begin to measure impact. So 6 months is such a long time that we can begin to see impact. And we have various ways that we use to measure the impact of what we do.
Okay, well, when you say the boy child now, do we have age, range in mind,
Yeah.
so that you'll be able to drive the message?
So for the ones that we spend these 6 months with is within the range of 10 to 19 years.
Okay.
However, we do like master classes for older males.
Older boys.
No, I don't say boys because it's not just boys. Older males.
Okay.
So you could be just a little bit above 19. You could be 60. You could be 70. We sit with you, and I honestly have gotten very wonderful reviews, because another major reason why we're doing what we do is because the boys, their voice have been stifled. Boys don't talk, about these stereotypes that you have to be a man at all times, you have to be strong, you don't have to show you are vulnerable and all. We are trying to also break those stereotypes. So when I sit with much older men, you hear them talking about things they've been carrying in their mind for so many years, and it's been eating them up. In one sentence, a lot of men are carrying around traumas that they haven't even identified yet, so they haven't labeled it yet. And then you see them in whatever space they find themselves behaving like lions. And you'll be wondering what's going on with this man. There's nothing you do that can pacify him. Some of these men have not even identified that trauma that they are going through. So until you do and you let off that thing, you probably will never become a better person. So everybody around you will like, oh no, keep away from that man. He's this, just keep getting very negative labels. But what we're trying to do at Ergote Foundation is to, you know, teach these young ones coming up that it's okay to speak out. When anything happens to you, when anyone hurts you, it's okay to speak out. It's okay to seek advice. It's okay to seek another opinion before you embark on, whatever decision you want to take. Because if you don't do that, just like I'll say, if parents don't grab their children at home, the internet is going to grab them. And the internet is going to teach them whatever they want to teach them. So yeah.
Okay, now I want to ask you, in the course of your intervention, don't you encounter, the issue or the challenge of probably boys who say, in as much as you want us to learn these skills, soft skills, you call them, is not a way of giving, away our masculinity because boys or men believe they've been created like that with that masculine nature of getting things done probably the hard way and not the ladies way or the girls way.
Yeah. So we're not taking away your masculinity. We're simply breaking some stereotypes that
Okay.
have been around for centuries, which is not really helping the
Okay.
man.
Okay.
Now, if you take Nigeria as a whole, I mean, we all can analyze what our problems are. And we've been, trying to treat our problems using the same methods, and it's not working. So what we need to do is to try another method. Why don't we teach the men these skills that will make them think critically? By the way, critical thinking is one of the skills we teach. That will make them think critically so that they will make informed decisions that will better everybody's life. So it takes men of timber and caliber, men that know their onions, to take certain decisions that will transform the nation. And the men we have right now, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for like Ergote Foundation to go into them and change the narratives in their brains. It's going to be difficult because they're already grown trees that you can't bend. So we're catching the next generation so that we begin to be patriotic. Patriotism is one of what we teach the boys. We have to teach patriotism. We have to change the mindset. We have to reorientate, the populace. Now, I believe strongly that a man that knows better will act better. You can't know better and act stupid. A man that knows better would want the best for his family. So even if your wife doesn't know better, you will try and fix her. A man that knows better would want better for his children, will set very, very strategic goals. Goal setting is one of the things we teach as well. So you will set goals that are achievable and you would want to do whatever it is to achieve those goals. Now we teach them, in all of the lessons we teach, we'll always relate it to their goals. We say, okay, you've set ABC goals. If you do this, you might achieve your goals. But if you do it the other way, it will hamper you from achieving those goals. So we need all of this that I've said to move our nation forward. It's about nation building.
All right, I know you're trying to inspire the next generation, but at the moment, you have a big challenge of, like you did alluded to, probably the boys that have turned men now, and it's difficult to change them with these soft skills, but uh, you don't give up. Probably, maybe you have to change your style or approach of try to get more big boys now to buy into.
Well, it's not that it's difficult to, teach them. It's the fact that, the age range we're dealing with, they are still tender.
Okay.
They don't really have much responsibility yet.
Okay.
They've not really carved out their life paths yet.
Okay.
So it's easy to kind of disrupt their thought process at the moment and, infuse these things we're talking about. But when we sit with older males, I won't say men, again, when we sit with older males from 20 and above, they probably already have responsibilities to take care of. the stress of the economy, the stress of family, the stress, the pair stress, oh, my friend has made it, he has bought a Benz, I've not gotten there yet. So all of this psychological kind of stress is already in them. So like I said, we can only do like a master class session with them. And at that age, because you know better than the other set of boys, you have to be intentional to want to listen with a clear and open mind, to assimilate as much as you can what can help you.
Okay, well, I want most thank you for what you're doing, and the conversation is getting me more interesting. And I wish I was a boy again, so that I'll start, all
And you
over.
belong to the other male category.
Okay, well, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll be taking more questions while we learn more from what you're doing. You're still watching a show reaching you from the Unity Station, NT Channel 5, Abuja. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll attempt more questions for answers. Thank you for rejoining us. It is still issues reaching you from the Unity Station. Well, my guest is still here, and let's continue our conversation on issues. Now, I want to ask you, you're barely 3 years with your program. Can we understand your reach or your spread so far? Is it in Abuja alone, or you're already in the North Central? You're around the country. Let's get to know how far you've gone with what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Okay. So for now, we're still in the FCT. We're still expanding in the FCT, and well, you've not asked for that yet, but I have to infuse it at this moment. We have the capacity to scale up as regards the manpower and the intellectual prowess. But the only reason why we aren't scaling up as we would want to do is the funding. So we're actually biting what we can chew at the moment. We just got approval from the FCT education authorities to pilot in 7 of their schools in Karu, Nyanya, Gwagwa, Karamajiji, and 2 other schools. But before now, we're going into the underserved communities. It was a community effort, but now we're going into still underserved communities, but it's going to be school based. And so we were looking forward to, breaking out into 4 more states. We've written to some states, but I wouldn't want to mention because we haven't got any response yet. So until we do, and we are able to strike a working relationship, then we'll scale up to 4 more states. But for now, we are focused on the FCT.
If I may ask also, I know what you're doing is so, good, it inspires, and probably we're hopeful that the result will be what would transform the entire society for the better. Now, don't you also think you should also push for a program like this to be part of the curriculum where you infuse it into the educational curriculum, that you don't need to go do one program on, one program off. It becomes part of the system that once a child is in school,
Yeah.
the boy child takes it as a subject, and over a long period of time, you begin to get a result that will be
Yeah.
like, wow.
Thank you very much for that question. When you started talking, I was just smiling. While that is one of our aims at the end of the day, may I add that I am presently a doctorate student of the University of Abuja of Sustainable Development. And well, I'm wrapping up with my thesis. But one of my recommendations is the fact that the federal government should look into introducing soft skills into the curriculum. So that way everybody gets it, not just the boys. But we are particularly focusing on the boys because we know that the ultimate beneficiary of this project is the girl child. So even if it is introduced into the curriculum, yes, it will make them better individuals at the end of the day, but it's not the focus we are, taking on is still going to be a bit different, but we definitely will want the federal government to take that on.
Now, you're focusing on schools, or you're starting with schools now.
for the third year.
Are you also considering probably the family circle now? Socialization, we know, starts with the home, the
Mhm.
family. So, how can you also help families, mothers now, fathers too,
Yeah,
in buying or keying into what you're doing? Because the boy child will start from the home before he's enrolled into school to learn
absolutely,
some of those. And so, how
absolutely.
can that also work?
So, we can't just go into a community and plug children and start, you know. So we have, the stages of the community engagement. And one of the stages is meeting the parents of the boys because this is outside of a normal school setting. And so we have to intimate the parents as to what it is we are on about and what we want to teach their boys. And the fact that we need to collaborate with them to reinforce whatever we're teaching at home. And the fact that they have to look out or they need to look out for that behavioral change at home because we need part of the impact assessment strategy is for the parents to give us feedback based on what they notice at home because we spend 2 hours with the boys 3 times a week, so it's not enough to monitor and to get all the feedback that we want. So the parents have to give us that feedback. So they have to work with us. And again, we meet with the parents at least 3 times within that 6 months. At the beginning, no, 4 times. At the beginning, midway, then before we wrap up, we have what we do, the Empower the Boy Child Family Fun Fair, where we invite the family members, the mothers, the fathers, and the siblings of the boys in an atmosphere of fun, to just come and unwind. And because we want to break, while we're teaching the boys, we ask questions and we pick on some, aggressive behaviors that happen at home, the lack of that bonding with the parents, especially the fathers, who should be the first role model of every child, of every boy child. And so we try to break those barriers when we come to the fun fair, because that's when we'll put the boys and the fathers to clash, maybe to do a tug of war, activities that will loosen the atmosphere around the home. And it has worked because after we are done with that particular exercise and we go back to assess impact, we realize that, oh, I wasn't really talking with my dad before, but after this program, we began to have healthy conversations and all of that. So we engage with the parents at least 4 times during the course of the 6 months.
Okay, when we begin to round up, I want to ask you this. You just mentioned something about barrier now. Don't you think also there is the cultural aspect of the barrier now,
Mhm.
where some communities or some people might perceive what you're doing to say, oh, you want us to give away the strength of a man. Some communities believe a man, a boy should grow up to be, like I mentioned earlier, apart from being masculine, should be strong, should be hard. How do you reconcile this? If you can
So
summarize your point, please.
I'll say this: it's weak men that will shout at women.
Okay.
It's weak men that will beat women. So teaching you not to beat, not to shout, not to violate, not to molest, is not taking away your masculinity. Instead, it is enhancing it. If you take an opinion poll today, I'm not sure you find any woman that would want to stay with any man that will beat her up just to show he's strong, or he will shout on her and molest and violate her. So we are trying to enhance the masculinity. However, like I said earlier, I have to mention it again. We are breaking those stereotypes because you know what? A lot of men are dying prematurely because they are not speaking out. Men are going through a lot. We appreciate that. We know a woman that will tell you the truth will tell you the truth. We know that you guys are going through a lot. And that's because of those stereotypes that you've grown into. And so we need to break it because sorry, not boys now, men are just dropping dead. Just have a mental calculation in your head. How many men you just hear, oh, they just dropped dead. Now, a lot of these men are dying with a lot on their mind. Some is just heart attack. And unfortunately, in Hausa, they say, "Mutu atona asiri," that which you've been trying to keep in your mind and not speak out. So you're afraid of being termed weak and, oh, he's not strong enough. He can't even run his home and all. When you drop dead, all that CD will come out. Oh, he was owing so amount. No, maybe that's what happened. That's why he had that attack. Oh, he had a hidden family somewhere. Oh, yeah. So when you die, all of these things will still come forth. So why don't you just free your mind, just speak out, seek help, and live longer and live healthy?
All right, we have to seek help, our guest says. But before we go, let's also look at we have the International Day of the Girl Child. Are you also advocating in the nearest future that we'll have International Day of the Boy Child?
Fantastic. We already have an International Day of the Boy Child.
Okay.
And it's usually celebrated on the 16th of May. We had a very fantastic outing last year. We did a road walk from the Millennium Park to the Eagle Square. It was very fantastic. And so this year, we're also already working on it, and we're trying to make it very big. We're targeting 120,000 people across Nigeria and diaspora to work for the boy child, because we need to amplify our voices. We need the relevant stakeholders to know that the boy child needs equal attention as the girl child. So watch out.
All right, that's very interesting and very educative. And we want to wish you the very best as you continue to mentor, inspire our boys out there to become soft men so that we don't have cases of brutality, molestation, and abuse in our society.
We're not turning them into soft men.
Okay.
We're teaching them soft skills.
Okay, soft skills.
Yes.
All right. Well, we commend you in any way you call it. We commend you for
Thank
what
you
you're
very
doing,
much.
and we wish you the very best as you continue to break barriers and ensure that we get the best out of our boys.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Well, my guest is a delight, and she's good at what she's doing. But the message here should resonate with all of us, because it is one responsibility we must all join hands to do to ensure that we have boys that are responsible to the society or in the society. Until we meet you in another episode of Issues, we want to thank you for your time. Let's do it again next week. I remain Abdullah Hajia. Thank you for your time.
Citizens of the Federal Capital Territory, take note. On Saturday, February 21st, 2026, we will go to the polls to elect 6